Well, hello, Mark and Grace Driscoll here with the Real Marriage Podcast. And we are doing a sequence of episodes on the cell phone. Your least favorite thing on the planet.
Or as I like to call it, the digital demon. Yes.
Last time we talked about jealousy that can be piqued when we're spending a lot of time without boundaries on our phones and our loved ones can feel second, third, fourth place. And it piques jealousy. And so we talked about that. We will provide solutions. But this time we want to talk about
how the cell phone really, in a marriage, it becomes a dangerous portal, potentially, of temptation.
Temptation, yeah.
And I'll talk about it from a guy's perspective. You could talk about it from a gal's perspective. For a guy's perspective, it can become a temptation, meaning you wouldn't welcome, I mean, most men listening to this, you're probably a Christian and want to have a good marriage and do love your wife. And you would never invite like dangerous women into your life. But it's wild because like when I was growing up as a kid, like let's say, for example, you wanted to meet or connect with a dangerous woman, like you had to work for it.
There was some effort.
Like you had to go to the bar and now, like, if you've got social media, you can, quote, slide into your direct messages. And next thing you know, you're like, there's women that are aggressive and or women from your past that are now trying to crash into your present. You're like, whoa.
Or apps.
Or apps.
Connect you directly with dangerous women, the folly women from Proverbs that are lips are dripping with honey.
Yeah, well, or pornography. I mean, it used to be if you wanted pornography, you had to go to the store and you had to ask the person at the counter, hey, could you get me the magazine that's under the counter? And now, like, you have to work really hard
to not
look at pornography because it is aggressively being fed to you. And like even, and it's wild for me too, because even like I watch a lot of news aggregates and I'm following the news all the time and do a lot of cultural commentary. And even what used to be just news now has, you know, a lot of salacious content, a lot of inappropriate imagery, and then ads kick up and click up and you're like, what the heck? Like, I don't need to see any of this, don't need to know any of that. And so, you know, it can get you into a secrecy where all of a sudden you're down a rabbit hole into a lot of darkness and danger. And so for men, that is a genuine issue. And so, you know, for some men
are visual.
Men are all men are visual. And so that means, you know, accountability software, you know, with a brother or buddy, if you really struggle with that, is a good thing. And also too, like this probably create a lot of controversy, but like, I think it's good if your spouse has your password to your laptop and to your phone and your digital devices, not for like harsh accountability, but like, you know the password and, you know, we're driving. I'm like, here's the phone, you know, get the directions, whatever, like, you know, like just honest, you know, walking in the light, being overt, all of that is just healthy. But I think for men, the phone creates a lot of temptation and it gives access for certain unhealthy women, even like, let's say it's at work or something else. You're like, well, now they're texting, now they're emailing, now they have access to me. How are you doing? You know, and all of a sudden that can flip into more of a flirtation or a private conversation that is not necessarily appropriate. And there's something too, experts will call it a work spouse. A work spouse is you go to work and your spouse is not there. So the coworkers don't really see you in the context of a married couple, because, you know, let's say
real life.
real life. They see you, you know, dressed up in your best. You're not home, you know.
You're working hard, hopefully.
Yeah, you're not home farting in your pajamas. They're seeing the better version of you, not the one your spouse sees. And the result is that, you know, you're together and you're talking and you're working on projects and maybe you're having meals together. And I don't think this is a good idea, but maybe even you're traveling for business and you're getting dinner or drinks together, you're following up, you're in communication. Next thing you know, your coworker is sick, and you're like, oh, you're not feeling good. Can I go, you know, get you whatever? And, you know, oh yeah, why are you tired? Oh, we're having a hard time with our kid. Oh, what's going on with your family? Now they've got
personal access.
Now in personal access, and you're like, so the digital communication can open up a lot of temptation, and it can allow the boundaries for your marriage and your covenant and the sanctity of your relationship to get violated. For women, how is the phone and the access that it provides a potential what kind of potential temptations is it for women, for the wife?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I have a rule just that I don't communicate with men alone on my phone.
I don't communicate with women alone.
Unless it's my husband or my sons. And so I will include either, like if it's work related, I include another person in the loop, that either our assistant or the wife of the gentleman that I'm needing to get a question answered from, whether it's email or text or a phone call. There's always, someone there that is a third party. I just want to be above reproach in all of that. And some people think that's a really weird rule, but we've never had any issues, and we never will, because we really want to keep that precaution. So I think for women, emotional, like you're saying, even for women, it's more the emotional side more so than the visual side. Most women aren't as visual as men. There is a portion, 20%, 25% of women that are visual, but most of them, it's not necessarily that struggle. It's the relationship, emotional struggle. You get connected in ways that you wouldn't necessarily connect with someone if you were with them, standing in front of them. It's also for women, I think it builds a lot of addiction of wasting time. The reason I chose not to do social media personally is because the couple times I went on way back in the early years of when it came around, I literally found myself on a million rabbit trails, and I thought, oh my gosh, this person and this person and this person.
Well, I've not seen them in forever, and you're clicking through,
Yeah,
like,
or
I wonder
didn't
what
know they were friends, and
it's gossip and busybody.
Well, 3 hours later, I thought I was on there for like 20 minutes. 3 hours later, and I thought, oh my gosh, I had so much to do, and I just wasted 3 hours. And I think even women that are, oh yeah, I just spend 10 minutes a day looking up my social media. No, you don't. And even if you do, that's 10 minutes that if you're not spending time with the Lord in the Bible or in prayer or praying for someone or investing in a healthy relationship, that's a wasted 10 minutes. And so and I'm not saying nobody should do social media. Obviously, I'm not saying that. But I think we really have to understand how much time we waste. And even games, like is it bad to play a game on a phone? No, because sometimes we need a break from our brain, from thinking or doing something. But if we can't stop doing it, then it's an addiction. And so we really have to, as women, be careful, because there's a lot of responsibilities in life as women, and it's easy to just kind of veer off and go into la land, whether it's in social media or games or whatever your issue is, and it's just not good for your brain. You're creating a brain pathway that isn't geared toward thinking about the things of the Lord. And He asks us to work hard and not be sluggards. And social media can be a place where we're just sitting around doing social media, and we can become a sluggard, or we can be, like I said, on games or something. And so just really, as women, need to be careful to manage our time well, to steward our time well. God gives us 24 hours in a day. How are we spending those minutes, those hours? Do our kids, if you have kids, do they see themselves as priority? Do they see themselves as you're spending more time with them, investing in them, listening to them? Because they're constantly, like when I had 5 little kids, they're constantly wanting to talk about something and asking why? And if you're just, I don't want to answer. If you're so busy with your phone, they will honestly stop asking. And you don't want your kids to stop asking, because these are the years where you're raising them and guiding them. They will find those answers somewhere else if you aren't willing to answer because you're on your phone all the time.
So as you were talking, I was writing down. So from a Christian standpoint, how much of the phone is just foolishness? Mm-hmm. Like Proverbs says, nothing good to say about the fool. Well,
90%.
Yeah, the fool is the person, that isn't doing things that are overtly wicked. It's just a dumb, stupid waste of time and energy. And Proverbs was written long before the phone. Mm-hmm. And so the phone and technology allows foolishness. It also allows gossip.
Yeah.
And, it's like all of a sudden you're on social media, you're peering in, you're like, I don't need to know these details of people's lives. But then you're texting and calling and emailing. And it seems, especially with women, like some women really, it's gossip is kind of their part-time job.
That's a busybody.
And that's a busybody, and the Bible has nothing good to say about a busybody. In addition, it can cause coveting. You're like, oh, their spouse lost 40 pounds and my spouse found them. You know?
It also causes...
Their kids are amazing and my kids are,
Yeah.
terrorists in training.
I think it causes lying, because I think you want to present the best version of yourself. I mean, I lead women's ministry, which is called Real Women. I try and be honest so that it can be helpful to show women that this is where I'm at, but that's not where I want to stay. This is where I want to go. And on social media, most women just present themselves as completely put together. Their house is, perfectly decorated for the holidays, and their meal is, Martha Stewart worthy. And what about all the other moments where your kids are running ragged and you're feeling like you just want to cry all day? And I mean, those are the honest moments that nobody puts on there, or they do, and they just are laughing at themselves. But I just think it presents an opportunity to lie about ourselves and show people a false sense of who we are, misrepresenting.
Well, and I'm going to write this down. So then too, honey, what it also does, the Bible talks a lot about stewardship. About 25% of Jesus' parables are about stewardship. Stewardship is, my time, my money, my energy, how to invest that in a way that is best for God's glory and my good and our good. Mm-hmm. And just think of all the time that you spend online, whether you're a political news junkie, a sports news junkie, you're a person that's just, sort of an obsessed celebrity junkie, you're on social media, you subscribe to every app, you're playing a lot of games, you're working a lot, call, text, and email, you're in lots of group texts and chats and threads, and it's like, you just look at it, like how much time and energy is that taking, and is that good stewardship? Mm-hmm. Because if let's say you're thinking about someone or something, and then you shift because you get an alert or something, now your brain is gone and it takes a while to come back. Most of us actually don't get sequential focused thought because there's too many disruptions and distractions. Yeah. And so is it even if you're like, well, it's not a sin, it's like, but is it foolishness or is it good stewardship? And I agree, honey, and this will feel like a rebuke to some women. Some women, they think that their husband and their kids are props in their life, and that every day they're trying to set up the new shoot. Hey, okay, Timmy, let me get your shirt, and Sally, let me get your bow, and okay, here we go. We're the perfect family. We're on the perfect vacation. We're at church. We're out to brunch now. And it's like, okay.
I've seen women dress up like Cinderella and try and get all of her kids to, be the minions. It's crazy what women do online.
Well, and then, so this would be it too. So that there's so many temptations that the phone brings. And again, a phone isn't bad. A phone is neutral. But if your heart is bad, out of the overflow of the heart, the fingers tweet, to paraphrase Jesus. And so if your heart is not in a good place, what technology allows you to multiply the dysfunction of your heart.
Yep.
And so then I'll close with this. So there's a lot of so whatever your temptation is, your phone is probably going to magnify and multiply that temptation.
Yes.
So in closing, and in the next one, we'll deal with triangles and bringing the wrong people into your marital relationship. But what's the difference between secrecy and privacy? Jesus Miracles, my latest sermon series and study guide. Jesus performed around 33 miracles as written in the Bible, 4 categories: removing demons, ruling over nature, restoring health, and one that I forget. But you can find it all in the study guide. It's about 130 pages, and this is really, honestly, the most difficult study guide that I've ever written. It's taking a lot of Jesus' words and works and compiling them into a simple, readable format, and so I'm really excited to get this resource into your hands.
Privacy, we're entitled to. We all get to have privacy. We get to hold whatever information private that we feel should stay private, whether it's, information about our kids, information about our sex life, information about our marriage that is just between us. Secrecy is when we're trying to keep something private to hide it, not just because it's our private matters, but we're trying to hide it from others.
So like secrecy would be you're texting someone that you're not married to and it's going the wrong direction, or you're contacting them on DMs. That's secrecy. It's like your spouse doesn't know. The Lord knows. That is not right. That is wrong.
Right.
Privacy is, it's not your dang business. It's just not. So, it's just wild to me that because of technology, and this is where a lot of couples, and you told me in the first episode I was angsty, and the reason you said that is because I was angsty. But in this one, I'll try to be a little less angsty, but there are probably a lot of couples that are like, hey, we disagree on where that line of privacy is with technology. Mm-hmm. And that would be a really important conversation to be like, okay, hey, don't tell your mother that we're fighting.
Yeah.
Don't tell your sisters that I'm impotent. And I'm not saying us. We got 5 kids. And none of them were virgin born. And, but like, hey, don't post on social media our date night.
Mm-hmm. I used to say that. Don't tell people where we are right away. Like,
well, and even on vacation, like they don't need to see the family.
No. Because then everybody acts like they know us and, oh my gosh, that looked like such a fun date. I'm like, I don't know who you are. And why do you know where I went on a date?
Yeah, you didn't go on the date. And our kids grew up and they became very jealous for their privacy.
Yes.
Because
I grew up and became very
jealous of our privacy. Yeah, because I'm more of a public figure. And part of it too is just, if some of you are hearing this, you'd be like, I have direct messaged you on social media and you did not get back to me. Mm-hmm, that's true. Because I don't have any social media platform. I don't have any social media platform that is not managed by staff. There is no private direct communication to me. And with this generation, it's weird. They'll come up and they'll be like, yeah, hi, I saw you on the Tick and the Talk. And, I'd like to get your cell phone number. It's like, you are.
But that's how this generation communicates, through texting.
I know. They feel like they should be able to text the president.
I know. They don't understand safety.
They don't understand privacy and boundary.
It's scary.
But, if you don't maintain privacy, a couple of things are going to happen. And this is where we'll get into it in the next episode with triangles. You're inviting a whole list of people into your marriage and into your life and into your family. You don't want to do that. In addition, you're probably going to really make your spouse and or your kids feel uncomfortable or even violated.
It would make me not want to share things with you because if I didn't know if you were going to post it or not, or send it to someone,
or email it,
it breaks intimacy in a marriage because marriage is built on trust. And if you can't trust that one another is going to keep certain things private, then you stop sharing those things, and then that breaks your marriage.
Yeah. There's a lot of temptations for men and women that technology affords and brings. I think ultimately that violation of privacy, it removes the sanctity and the preciousness of marriage. The Bible talks about holiness. Holiness means it's special, it's unique, it's sacred, it's set apart. The Holy Spirit reminds me in Hebrews, it says to keep the marriage bed pure or holy. Marriage is a holy covenant. Marriage is a holy sacrament. And so if you're treating it profane, which means common and base, and there's not privacy and respect, really what you're doing, you're really dishonoring your spouse, your God, and your marriage covenant. And oftentimes we don't think about it. They're like, what? I'm just on the phone. It's like, no, actually what you're doing is violating. So in the next episode, I feel like it's going better. I feel like the first one, I was a little angsty.
Yeah, prayer helps.
Yeah, she made me pray between episodes, so.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you. And then in the next one, we're going to talk about triangles, how the phone, or as I call it, the digital demon, and I hate the freaking phone, it can create triangles where all of a sudden it's you and your spouse, and you're bringing somebody else in that is not helpful. See you in the next episode.